Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, Stride Gamer here, providing you the new Anno 1800 episode, and we are back with the Eden Burning scenario, the new scenario introduced in game update 13. If you missed it, don't hesitate to check on my channel. A couple of videos already covering it, but today we're going to look into my top 10 tips to help you succeed in this scenario. The first one is, if you don't know, when you restart the scenario after having completed it, be it you lost or you won, you can get some bonuses. I have a video detailing that will appear now at the top, but just very quickly, basically when you restart, if you don't click on the reset button, you will be able to sort of carry over from your previous save two things. One is if you clear some of those ruins here, there's 3 ruins below the generator and before the dam. Those 3 ruins, if you've cleared them before, they stay cleared. You can see here all of them are cleared, and I can get the resources directly, like some bricks and some steel, without having to do anything. So it helps you a lot to get some resources, but also more importantly, so that your balance is positive at the start instead of negative for the soil. Also, you will start with any legendary item that you have done in your previous, that you have transmuted here in your previous save. So that helps a lot. That was tip number 1. If you restart, you can make the game easier. Tip number 2 is actually a bug slash a cheat, but if you're really struggling, you may want to use it. Is if you go here at the bottom from building sorting by progress, you can go into building sorting by type, you can go to culture, and we have the tree painter. And with this tree painter, you can actually repopulate the island, replant trees all over the island. So that helps a lot, because in this scenario, your lumberjack huts are cutting the trees, right? They don't come back unless you have some special items. Actually, we don't see it here. Unless you have this forester hut, right? So it helps a lot. It just does cost money, so be careful if you use it too much at the beginning, but it could help you a lot to replant, in particular because replanting increases your forestation bonus here. At the beginning of a game, it is at 30. Here now it's already at 36 because I replanted a bit more on the island. It can go up to 50. So that could be a huge, boost if you always stay sort of at 50 here. So that was tip number 2. Now, tip number 3 is there are a lot of islands. This is your only island where you can build, but there are a lot of smaller islands around the map. For example, here is one, and these islands have resources and other elements that will help you. So make sure you use your ship that you get from the start, your flagship, to just quickly go around the map and find things. For example, here I found some timber, which will be quite useful at the beginning of the game, some tools, and some electric cable, which is a pain to make at the end of the game. There's quite a few, don't hesitate to check around. One thing to note though is the placement of those islands between each new scenario, I think, is sort of randomized. It moves this around. It's not like you can just plan and always go to the same place. So that was tip number 3. Just get those resources as quickly as possible. You can even get some permanent bonuses. I won't show you them, but definitely try to get them. They are very powerful. Now, very linked to this is there are actually some bonuses also directly on your island, in the sea and on land. For example, this is one of the one on the sea. They look like this. You'll see them quite easily. You don't even need a ship. You can just click on it, and as you can see, we've now gotten some Herboria, or the resource Herborium. This one here, we've got one, and we also got an item which can be used in your trade unions. So there are a couple around the island. Once again, they do move around. I think it's again sort of randomized, but there are also some on the island which I think are less randomized. I think there's always one here. I've seen last time too. So you can get it. These similarly give you the resource Arboria, which is used which is here, which is used to transmute things, right? Everything costs, no, not everything, but the higher level ones cost, you know, see 1, 2, 6 for this, and also gave me once again an item. So make sure to get those things right. I mean, you don't have to do it right away. Maybe start first building a bit your island, but as soon as you have a minute to spare, just look for them and get them. That's tip number 4. Tip number 5 is back to the trees. If you're not using, you know, the cheat we just saw here with tree planter, you need to be careful about trees because they don't regrow by they don't regrow at all, and you have a limited number of them on your island, right? So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you use, for example, a place like this where there's almost no trees to build your initial city instead of building it here, for example, because then you will lose all of those trees. Or you want to make sure that you put, you know, wood lumberjack huts to clear all of this before you put a city here. So that was tip number 5, you know, sort of cut the trees before you make them disappear by putting buildings on them. Tip number 6 is the multiculture from start. So if you place too many, for example, plantains next to each other, they will give you a negative bonus. But if you put one plantain and one corn next to each other, that will actually give you a bonus. So at the beginning of the game, you're gonna need plantain quite quickly, but you may not need corn. But as you can see, both of them are unlocked with 50 journal arrows right away. So make sure that as soon as you're at 50, you actually build one of this and one of this, and then you always sort of build them together. That will also create for you a bit of a reserve of corn, which you'll need later on. So don't wait for needing corn or for needing something else to just build it. Those cultures actually are quite good. They increase your soil quality by quite a bit, and they cost very little journal arrows, usually 10 journal arrows as workforce. So yeah, make sure to do that right from the start. Multiculture all the time. Then we're going to move into another save which has something a bit built for me to show you the last 3 tips, including also after it a bonus tip, so stay tuned for that. Okay, so we are now back in another island. This is actually the first playthrough I ever done. You can see the dam is actually finished, but let's use it to show you a couple of things. The first one is because you can't relocate anything, and also because when you destroy something, for example, let's destroy this, you only get money, you don't get resources back. And lastly, because of when you stop something, you don't get any impact in terms of your quality, and you don't need any workforce. You just need a bit of maintenance, but look at the money. You were totally fine on money. I suggest that you never destroy anything. You always pause things. Maybe later you'll need it, like really just destroy when it's really in the way, it's blocking you from doing something a lot better, then destroy it. But otherwise, especially for the items that require bricks and steel, and even especially even more the ones that also require electric cables, like this concrete factory. If we go into here, the concrete factory, to build one requires 24 steel and 25 cables. So that's a pain if you need to destroy that. So make sure that you just pause them, you don't destroy them. That's our tip number 7. Now tip number 8 is the pollution impact. I want to actually show you that it's not linked to it is purely linked to productivity. You can see here actually we are at 440 is 14. Now, as soon as I got to 445, it got to 15. Now it's got to 16 because I got to 155. So this is just directly linked to the productivity of the building. So if your building is stopped, once again, you get nothing. When your building starts again, it starts at 0% productivity, then it goes 1, 2, 3, etc. This will slowly increase up until you get to your max productivity. For example, in that case, it will be 200, and in that case, we'll get a 20. impact. I don't mean to say that it's always 1-to-1, right? It's not 200 means 20. It depends on the building. Some have, different impacts, like especially the farms. If we look here, this is -5. So I'm not saying that it will always be 1-to-1, but at least I wanted to show you that it's directly linked to productivity. And what it means is when you put a silo, it will definitely increase the impact. It will actually double it usually if you don't have other items, right? Because you go from 100% productivity to 200. So why would you want to do it? Well, a couple of reasons. The first one is you actually also get the cattle extra good bonus 1 out of 3, right? Every 3 cycle you get 1 more. So that is kind of a free resource. The second is that you only need 1 building, which means you only need the workforce for 1, and you only need the space for 1, apart from just the space of the silo. So it will take you a lot of space, and at the end of the day, you're using Control Q to know what you need, right, in terms of production, right? For example, if you need 8 fish, like we see, we need 7/8 fish, so you're gonna have to produce it, right? So it's not as if we put a silo just for the fun of it. We put a silo because we're gonna need that much cows or cattle in that case, that putting a silo does help. It takes less space, and we get also less workforce, less also maintenance, by the way, and 1 out of 3 in bonus. Now, number 9 is actually one that I can show you very quickly now. Is you don't need to clear this performance generator to actually win. I haven't taken it out, it's not been removed. I still get the malus, still taking me even also workforce, but still I can win. And I have one just like that. So, this is sort of bonus number 9. You don't need to clear the runes. Of course, the runes are important to clear because usually, they give you resources, they give you, they reduce your air quality and things like this, but you don't need to. Now, if we do it here, you can see, or especially for this one, you actually don't even get any resource. So another reason why you may not even want to care about it, given that it takes 300 jornaleros and 1 hour and 40 minutes. And now, tip number 10 that I want to show you before we get to the bonus tip, which is quite important, is you have a lot of items here of different quality, from obviously the uncommon to the legendary. Only the legendary ones will stay in your save if you restart, none of the others, none of the epic, etc. It's also worth noting that many of them can be destroyed after use. For example, the aqua farm or the water purifier and the forest seeds. For example, 1 item for the aqua farms means you can build 5 of them. Here, you can buy 5 of these. Some of them, of course, don't expire or be used, but these ones also are being destroyed. But the key thing I want to show you is really read carefully those things, because some of them are really not that useful in my opinion. We look at this one. It affects your animal farms by increasing the productivity by 20%. I'm guessing it's a problem, a typo here. And it also increase the eco impact, right? So that basically means you're going to increase your productivity, which by default already increases your pollution. And on top of that, you're going to increase your overall pollution of the building. So you're increasing your pollution by a lot just to increase a bit your productivity, which means the only bonus you're getting is a bit less space and a bit less workforce, but for a lot of pollution. Whereas this game is all about pollution, right? You want the least pollution as possible. So, an item like this, really just be careful. For me, an item like this one is actually a lot more powerful, right? because it will reduce modules and reduce the pollution. Similarly for this one. So just be careful. In particular, there are usually quests that are given to you. Is it? There is quests that are given to you regularly from here, and they often ask you to do things. Those things are often bad for you, right? Like having a shard core clean is going to give me pollution. So you should do it to get the Herborium, because you need the Herborium to make new items, but then destroy it. Or similarly, sometimes they ask you to craft something and then put it in a trade union. Make sure that after you've done it and got the bonus, you take it out if it's not an item you want. That was tip number 10. And then the bonus one is, I've seen a lot of questions already about this guy here. The fishing ship, the fisherman, he sort of, from time to time, if you click on him, he's not doing it right now, but it tells you something like this map is strange, I don't know where to go, etc. This is a quest, but this is a quest that's bugged. For most people, it is not starting. So if it starts, see, I can read nautical chart, but this is a mystery. So it's supposed to basically show you a chart. I still haven't seen it. I've tried it a couple of times, still never seen it. If you have, great for you. Don't hesitate to also share in the comments below what you see. But basically, yeah, that quest is bugged, so don't worry about it, just ignore it. Don't try tons of things, it's just bug. Ubisoft has said it in their latest post officially, so they know about it. So it is, ladies and gents, 10 tips plus 1 bonus on how to succeed with this new scenario.